Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Wanted to do a quick video on the Yokomo 870C and some of the upgrades that we got. And what I mean by some of the upgrades I got is the only upgrade I got, which is the Koswork hinge pins. So as you know, on our Yokomo 91 works, and also on this, the B7 outer rear hub hinge pins are a perfect fit for the inner mount on both the front and the back on the 870C and the Yokomo 91 works. Now, on the outside hubs, I was trying to find something, and then I noticed the other day on AMAN, Kosworks makes the outer hinge pins. So they make the outers and the inners. The inners are a copy of a B7. So what this does is, it helps sandwich that together, provides a little bit more rigidity, and thus helps eliminate a lot of the slop that the 870Cs have from just the normal hinge pin mount. So that's tightened it up greatly. Obviously, you don't want to tighten it too tight and bind up your carrier or your rear hub, but that allows you to loosen it up slightly, give it a couple ugga duggas, give it one ugga dugga off, and you're about perfect. And that way, that helps eliminate some of the slop and stuff in the system, not only in the rear end with the hubs and the wheels, but also in the front end too with the C-hubs and the steering. So the other question I got is, why do I run Yokomo wheel discs? Or what is the purpose of these? And one of the purposes is to help a little bit with that. But if you notice on the Yokomo rims, the white, the Yokomo rims are called like white foil, and you can see on these are two rears. It's maybe hard to see on camera, but you can already see stress marks on the very inner part of the tire. You don't see it in any of the outer part, but the inner part that actually sits against the face of the hub, you can actually see some of those white stress marks. So when you are able to put in a metal ring in there, that just helps it seat and helps reinforce this area rather than letting it bend, because you only have the two screws on here and then nothing kind of retaining over here. That's why, later on they had four. And then I think they had three on the MX4 or something like that. So that just helps with that and helps that rigidity, because these rims aren't the strongest ones out there. So if you are building your 870C or your Yokomo 91 works, and these do work on the Yokomo 91 works, except the only difference is the rear, you use two B7 hinge pins. You only use a B7 hinge pin on the front, and then the outer, you can use a Kosworks outer hinge pin. So that takes three of the same length and one of, I think they're 51 millimeter on the inside and like 31 on the outside. Look it up on AMAN. Like I said, they were pretty good. They're only $10, but they do a fantastic job of taking out some of the slop. What I did was they had a little bit of movement in them, so I just added some washers on each side, and that helps me. Like I said, that helps take all the slack out. I can tighten them up. I can still get my hub to swivel freely, and it just tightens up the whole assembly. So it feels like a modern car. But if you have a 870C or a Yokomo 91 works, buy the Kosworks hinge pins. They seem to be fairly good. They seem to be exactly the same as B7. I actually bought a couple spares just in case, because they are hardened. So that's another bonus over the C-clips, and you don't have to deal with C-clips anymore. So you don't have to worry about popping them off, popping them back on. If you're working on your car, it's just like a modern day car. But like I said, the biggest thing is not only that ease, but it helps provide that stability there, which then helps take out the slop in the system. So not only in the rear end, but also on the steering. So if you've ever noticed there's enough slop in here, if you're trying to set your caster, it may not be correct because of the slop in there. So, if you lift it up and you sit it back down, you might get a different reading. This should help with that as well by eliminating that slop front and rear. And they look cool. I mean, that looks cooler. The only thing I haven't done yet is I'm still running the hinge pins on the very inside on this one. And I do have some B7, and I was just lazy and didn't get to it the other night. And I may not before Pizza Feast. We'll see. But we are going to take this car to Pizza Feast. I don't think the Durango will be ready. Most of my parts actually show up Some parts showed up today. I got some parts showing up tomorrow and Saturday, but I want to take my time building that, and I ordered a number of parts for that, including bodies, everything else. Put in a big order through, if you're looking for Durango parts, a company called Auctions has a ton of Durango parts at good prices, so I ordered a bunch through them. Got a bunch of Motor Obscura stuff in, waiting on one more item for Johan, and we will do a little send-off giveaway since Johan won that. He requested some cool stuff, and it's only fair that I share it with you, the viewers. So, and plug Motor Obscura a little bit. I run their rear T-plate on my double XT, and while it costs a pretty penny, it is awesome. So, and the stuff that came in for his looks pretty cool as well, but we'll go through that before it goes off to Sweden here. So, like, comment, subscribe down below. We'll see you on the next one.